Hi, Ruka girl. Have your shin up against the wall in a lunge position with your chest up, nice and tall. If you can't go into that lunge position with your chest up nice and tall, you are missing range of motion in either your hip or your quad. If you are able to stand up nice and tall, but you still notice that your squat is not as good as you'd like it to be, it could be a psoas issue. Psoas is basically just a huge tendon that connects from the lower part of your lumbar, goes through your stomach, and then connects to the front part of your hip. So it's a really big issue that a lot of people have. That they go, hey, I've got great ankle mobility. I feel like I have good hip mobility because I can do this couch stretch, but I still can't get into a good squat. That psoas is something that we probably need to dig into. And the way you guys find that is if you look at your belly button and you go off to the right or left of your abdominal muscles, and then you push into your abdomen, you should basically feel the further you push in, this rope that's really far in there, and that is your psoas. So you would take a lacrosse ball or maybe even a softball, lay on it, nice and easy and soft in your belly on that side, and just slowly try to dig into that psoas. That's another thing that'll help as well. So we've got the ankle mobility, so having somebody pull your knee forward to create that dorsiflexion, or putting a barbell on the end of your knees. And then we have the couch stretch for the hips. So that's a huge one as well. Again, if you guys don't know what any of these stretches look like, or it's hard for you to imagine this through this podcast, find one of the coaches, and we'll definitely show you what these are. So that would be for just your basic squat. That'll get you a really good squat. Now, if you have trouble with the overhead squat or the front squat, which I know a lot of people do, it's shoulder mobility. The best, I don't even know if I would call it a stretch for this one, isn't going to be any type of band. It isn't going to be any type of lacrosse ball or anything like that. It's going to be muscle memory. And actually, this could kind of go into the hips as well, too. But sitting is basically killing us. That's the biggest thing. So we're stuck at our desks all day. We're sitting in cars. We're sitting down constantly. We are sitting more than we are standing. And 90% of the time when we're sitting, we're in this forward rolled shoulder position, meaning the thoracic area is really rolled forward. Our shoulders are rolled forward. And we're creating internal rotation on the shoulders constantly. What happens with that internal rotation, you guys can think of like if you were sitting at your keyboard, your shoulders rolling in towards your chest. That position is creating a shorter pec major and pec minor. So the pec major, pec minor run through your pec and then connect to your shoulder. The more forward your shoulder is normally, the shorter that pec major and minor is going to become. Our body adapts to whatever position we are in more regularly, meaning that if I have that shoulders roll forward constantly, my body's going to shorten that pec major and pec minor in order to make my body more efficient. If I have my shoulders rolled back constantly in a good position, so thinking like big broad chest, like how your mom used to always tell you, pull your shoulders back, that position, eventually that pec major, pec minor is going to elongate again, and it's going to give you more room, and it's going to become easier for you to hold your shoulders in that externally rotated position. Then when we ask you guys to throw a barbell up over your head or a kettlebell or whatever, your shoulder's already in a good position. You're not fighting to get against that pec major or pec minor in order to get yourself in a good position. So what I suggest you guys do is every hour on the hour, if you look at your watch, look at your phone, it's just past the hour, what you're going to do is try to follow along with me here through the podcast, but you're going to take your fingers and you're going to cross them together as if you're forming a web. From there, you're going to place your two hands on your chest. And then from there, you're going to take your elbows and suck them into your side. You're going to push them back, which should pull your shoulders back. And then you're going to push your elbows down. That should basically make your traps or the upper part of your shoulders relax. And then you put your hands back at your side and you're going to go back to doing what you're doing. That's going to create muscle memory in your guys' shoulders to sit back. And that's going to create, over time, it's going to elongate that pec major and pec minor and allow you to be in a better position over time. So it's not necessarily a stretch or anything like that, but as much as it is you being conscious of the fact that you need to put that shoulder in a good position more than it's in a bad position, so the body will start to elongate that pec major and pec minor and make it a lot easier for you to, from there, work on maybe some knots that you have in your guys' back of your shoulders or maybe in your deltoids or whatever it is. But first thing starts with that muscle memory. So setting those shoulders in a good position more than they're in a bad position. And that kind of takes me back actually to your guys' squat too. We talked about that couch stretch. One of the other things too that's causing people to have a bad squat as well is short hamstrings. So again, going back to the sitting thing, when you guys sit down and you go into that 90-degree position with your hip and your upper torso, you are shortening your hamstring. If you are sitting more throughout the day than you are standing, your body is going to adapt to that sitting position, meaning that your hamstring is going to shorten over time. And that short hamstring basically means that as you go to squat, the lower your hip gets, the longer your hamstring has to become, and the harder it is for you to actually get depth. So your body is adapted to this new sitting position by shortening your hamstring. It's making your hip flexors extremely tight as well, because those are shortened as well. And then your shoulder's in a crappy position because you're sitting at your computer. So what I suggest you guys do is, number one, do what I did. And actually in my house right now, I'm doing this podcast. I have a stand-up desk that I made myself. If you don't want to make a stand-up desk, then I'm going to give you the same advice I gave to my sister. And that is that every hour on the hour, along with you guys resetting your shoulders back and down, you're going to get up out of your desk. You're going to walk to the bathroom. You're going to go to the bathroom. You're going to get some water. You're going to say hi to a few people on your way back and kind of get a stimulus to the brain. And then when you get back to your desk, you're going to stand for 5 minutes at your desk doing your work. So ideally for my sister, what that was the time that she would make her phone calls to whoever she needed to make her phone calls to. And she said it actually worked out really good for her because she felt like when she was standing, she was in a better mood. And she was smiling, and the people on the other side of the phone line were actually noticing that. They're like, man, actually, Morgan is a lot more pleasant to talk to on the phone compared to when she was sitting all day long and then having to make these phone calls to these people after she'd been sitting with no blood flow going through her body, no oxygen getting to her brain. When she would get up and walk around and get some water and then come back to the desk and make these phone calls, she was in a much better mood. So not only are you taking the time to get out of your desk and elongate your hamstrings, elongate your hip flexors, reset your shoulders, get a little bit of oxygen and blood flow through the body and into the brain, interact with other people as well, which helps stimulate good hormones in the body and feel good hormones. But then when you go back to your desk, you're going to be a lot more productive as well. So that is going to be my number one thing before any type of stretch that we do, is that you guys change your habits. So making standing more normal than sitting, making a good shoulder position more normal than a crappy shoulder position, and then moving around at least every hour to get blood flow through your body is going to help you recover from those workouts you guys do as well. So that was a long way for me to tell you the 3 neglected stretches, but know that before any stretch can be done, there must be muscle memory first, and that comes from changing your guys' poor habits. So change your poor habits, then stretch, and then we work on getting those knots and stuff out of there. So there's definitely a basic relationship between the 3. All right, moving on to the next question. Let's see. Have a class work on technique, like progressions for the muscle up or butterfly pull-ups, or how to jump higher for triple unders. This is awesome. You guys heard the first part of our podcast when we talked with Brittany, and you guys know by now that we're coming up with like a 3 to 6 month basically progression for you guys to learn all these things, the gymnastic stuff. So I've got in here muscle ups and butterfly pull-ups and double unders. Those are all things that we're going to be working on with you guys, and it is in the works. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every week, you guys are going to have something you're working on to get you guys closer to those muscle ups, closer to those butterfly pull-ups, closer to those jump or for those triple unders. But know that there's got to be a solid framework built. So we are going to start with the basics and work you guys up from there. So be patient with it, and be what's the word I'm looking for? Be vigilant. Be working on it constantly. Do the positions at home, the hollow body, the arch, the straight body. Work on staying tight through each one of those positions, etc. And those muscle ups or butterfly pull-ups are going to come. When they do come, they're going to come like crazy, and you guys will be stoked. So we have that in the works for you guys, and I'm really excited that you guys actually threw that question in there, because it makes me happy that we have something coming for you guys for that. So last 2 questions. Possible to have classes related or rated light, moderate, or heavy days? So I think what you guys are after with this question is saying, basically, we want to know what's coming up, what days are light, what days are moderate, what days are heavy. So the only problem with this is that CrossFit is constantly varied, right? And it's functional movement. So within a workout, we could have a heavy lift and a gymnastics movement, and then a monostructural movement. So a monostructural movement is running, rowing, jumping, air dyeing, swimming, that kind of stuff. So we don't necessarily label anything light, moderate, or heavy because within a workout, it could be transferring between the three. We could have a heavy deadlift, we could have a light kettlebell swing, and we could have a bodyweight movement like a pull-up, all within that one workout. And that's kind of the goal of CrossFit too, is to get you guys to be very well-rounded as well. We will label heavy days though when you guys come in and we have like 1 rep maxes, 3 rep maxes, those types of things. But as far as like letting you guys know ahead of time, like, hey, this is going to be a light workout, this is going to be a heavy workout, this is going to be a moderate workout, that's not really doable just because the goal is to get a constant different stimulus on the body, meaning that you may have a light thruster and you may have a heavy deadlift within the same workout. And that's a good thing. That's what we're after. So we want you guys to be able to train your weaknesses. So what we can do though with this as well is that making sure that the coaches are letting you guys know like what the weight should feel like. So for example, if we did a workout with 95-pound thrusters for the guys, 65-pound thrusters for the girls, that should be a light workout. That should be a very light thruster weight, right? But let's say that we combined that thruster with a 80-pound kettlebell swing and a 62-pound kettlebell swing for the guy and girls. That's a heavy kettlebell swing. So we've got a light thruster that you guys should be able to move on, nonstop and with some pretty good speed. And then we have a really heavy kettlebell swing. So we'll make sure that we are doing a good job on letting you guys know how weight should feel as opposed to how weights or what types of weights you guys should be using. And that's always what we're after. So I hope I kind of answered that question a little bit. I know that that you guys, if you guys would like to see like, hey, today's a light day or the next day's a moderate day, we can't really do that just because of the reason listed before. But we will do our best to make sure you guys understand what the weight should feel like. So again, if we have a 115-pound deadlift for the guys, like that's extremely light. And light for me at 115 pounds should be the same for everybody else, whether that's a barbell or a 45-pound plate or an 18-pound kettlebell or maybe even a PVC pipe. It should just be light to you. So hopefully that helps. Ruka's going crazy on some cat out back. All right, guys. Last question. How do you? I don't know if this question. I think this question is. I'm going to say it's legit, but I can't tell if it was put in by one of my friends or something like that to try to make me look like an idiot. But how do you ask for a workout partner? How do you establish the relationship? So hopefully the establishing a relationship within the gym should already be there. If you guys come enough, you know that we're all friends with each other. We love each other. You can work out with anybody you want with a team workout, and everybody would be totally fine with it. If you guys are feeling like you maybe are a bit of an outsider, or you're nervous about asking somebody if they want to work out with you because maybe they lift a little bit heavier or they go a little bit lighter, I would say don't even worry about that at all. Everybody at Coast Range is extremely approachable, extremely friendly, and would help out anybody at any time. And that's been the reason why that's there is because the people that we started with were like that. And then all of the other members that we've gotten from here on out have been referrals from those people. So everybody seems to be the same type of person, which is, I haven't seen a single ego in our gym. I haven't seen anybody who thinks they're better than anybody else. We've had a couple of them come in and they don't last more than a week. They're usually in there and then they're gone because they just don't fit in. So if you're feeling like you're having trouble, you're not sure who to ask to be your partner or who should you approach, I would say just grab the person right next to you, regardless of if it's John Strong or if it's Megan. It doesn't matter. Just grab them and get to know them a little bit better. That's kind of the whole reason why we're here is so you guys can have an awesome gym with a place that you feel is completely it's not intimidating at all, and that you guys can work out with each other and have a good time. So yeah, as far as establishing relationships, just keep coming to our events that we're doing outside the gym. That's a big thing. Every time we have a barbecue, make sure you guys are coming and have a good time and getting to know people on a deeper level as opposed to just workout partners. That's kind of the whole point of Coast Range, is that it's meant to be not just a gym, but a family of people. So that's why we do so many events, is that we want to get to know everybody on a deeper level and understand each other, what they do for a living and how many brothers and sisters they have and all that sort of stuff goes into helping us as coaches understand, when you guys come in walking with your head down, that you may have had a hard day at work or whatever it is, or that you just came back from a business trip and we knew that it was going to be stressful, or you weren't going to get a lot of sleep beforehand. So